Okie dokie. Thanks for stopping by once again. This is entry 38 in the Diary of a Cinephile. I had something else I wanted to actually talk about in this entry, but I'm putting that off to the side for a second because it is Monday, May 3rd, and Marvel Studios just dropped an official Phase 4 trailer that kind of doesn't give you too much, but it does kind of, it is kind of a portrayal of what they have planned moving forward, and I just did one run through with it, and I'm going to do another one while I do this recording to kind of discuss some of the things that they're talking about. So you're going to hear a little bit of that in the background. I'll do some talking over it, and I'll give my opinion and my feelings about stuff, because it's nice that they're really trying to pick up steam with what they have planned. The trailer starts off on a good note. You got Stan Lee narrating in the background as it goes over its previous phases, and then it goes a little bit into what they are working on and what they have coming out. So let's start this really quick.
I love being with people. It's the most incredible thing in the world.
Just hearing Stan Lee's voice is just great, especially.
That world may change and evolve.
Such a good trailer,
But the
too.
one thing that will never change.
Going
We're
over
part of one big family.
going over all of these things little by little. You just see little clips from other movies that they've done so far. It's just really nice. The first feeling that Guardians of the Galaxy gave me. It was such a good film, that first one. I'm not a big fan of the second one, but that first one is fantastic.
That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister.
Higher, further, faster, baby. That's right.
We're all part of one universe. Wakanda forever! That moves ever upward and onward to greater glory.
It's such a nice recap. And then there's this, they use an actual clip of an audience reaction to that scene where everybody comes back during Endgame, and the official time they say Avengers Assemble. Which, that's a pivotal moment in and of itself. Waiting, 22 films for them to just say that simple thing, Avengers Assemble. And it was teased a little bit in Age of Ultron, and for them to not say it up to this point, it really does culminate everything that we've wanted and everything that was leading up to this one thing that was those first three phases. So I've seen tons of videos that's all audience reaction to everything about those two films, Infinity War and Endgame, and they're just great because I remember being in the theater as well, having those same reactions. I might even be in one of those videos too. I probably don't even realize it.
On your left.
4/26, man. Wow, 2019. 2 years. Everything that's made up what they've created so far. This just giant universe that just has so much involved. And Black Widow, like, when are we going to get Black Widow? Like, I hope they don't push it again. What's the date they give it here? I think it's July. It looks so good, and it sucks that it's a prequel, because it's probably going to be so good that you're going to wish that we got a second one. And the only thing they can do is another prequel that goes even further back. I think this takes place, if I'm not mistaken, right after Winter Soldier and right before, I don't even know if it takes place before Infinity War. It might even be before Winter Soldier. I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like it's after Winter Soldier. But this should have been involved in Phase 3, and the fact that they're not using it until Phase 4, And, of course, if you've seen Endgame by now, you know that, Black Widow's dead. So it's like, why would you do this to us? Because I feel like it's going to be so good, we're going to wish there was another one. And what are you going to do? Go back again and give us another prequel story? Go even further back and give us her official origin story? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it really sucks that we're getting this now after the fact. I think that's really poor on Marvel's part. But it does look really good, and I'm really looking forward to it.
We have unfinished business. So
Yeah, July 9th. So this summer, a couple of months. Wow. I hope they stick to it. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Oh, and this one, I don't know anything about Shang-Chi, and I really haven't heard of him until they announced him as part of the next phase. And this film looks great too. And I think they said this one was September. And this looks really good too. It looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, September 3rd. It looks like such a fun film, and I'm glad they're also taking this time to give us more characters now, because we need more characters in the MCU. It's growing so big, and of course we want sequels and we want further stories built with the characters that are still around. That's why WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they all work. Black Widow's the only one that doesn't work because we're not going to get any more after that. So it's like, we're going to get this movie that's possibly great and not going to be able to lead off of anything from there, because everything that happens after what the storyline is, it already is done. We've already seen all that. So, any sort of thing in that film that tells us, oh, is Black Widow going to survive? Yes, of course she's going to survive, because she doesn't die until Infinity War. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Endgame, I should say, actually, not Infinity War, but Endgame. So these build-ups of these characters they already have and introducing these new characters is great, and I can't wait for more of this. And Shang-Chi kicking it off is a great step forward, in my opinion.
when you love something,
And these little clips we're getting of the Eternals, another group that I don't know much about, and we're getting them in November. I don't think an official trailer has dropped for them yet, and getting this little sneak peek of that is fantastic. I love this. I love that we're getting some clips from this another portion of this universe that they're building, and understanding that, oh yeah, this is just more parts of the overall universe, like how Guardians of the Galaxy is and how Captain Marvel is supposed to be. There's other portions of this universe that they've built, and expanding on those stories is such a great idea. Again, I don't know much about the Eternals, and we're not going to get this until November. And it looks like it's got some pretty good people in it. I see a clip that has Angelina Jolie with a sword, kind of made out of energy, I guess. It looks really good. There's another actor in there that I know who does comedy. I don't know his name off the top of my head. The frontrunner guy, he looks familiar. I don't know his name, but he does look familiar. It looks like I've seen him in something else before. And it all just, it looks really good. And we're getting that in November, so that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, they got a speedster. That's great.
we're the ones who changed everything.
Yeah, this actor, I'm not sure who he is, but I recognize him. Spider-Man No Way Home. We're supposed to get that by December. I didn't even know they were filming that. I thought they just dropped the name, which I love how they're, continuing that pattern. Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. That's pretty cool. I like that. I don't know what that's going to incorporate. There's no visuals for any of that. It's just the title and a release date. So, tentative, December 17th. So hopefully they stick with that. And hopefully they stick with the Shang-Chi and the Black Widow release as well. And the Eternals. Hopefully all that stays patterned. And along with those and the shows we're supposed to be getting, we're supposed to also get Loki. This doesn't even express those shows. It doesn't express that we've got WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki that are also supposed to be part of Phase 4. So not only is Phase 4 those 3 shows, it's also these 4 films. So that's a lot of content this year to build up Phase 4, and that's not even including what they have planned for next year. So let's keep looking. They have Spider-Man. Spider-Man ends the year off. And then we start the year in 2022 with the Doctor Strange sequel, The Multiverse of Madness, which doesn't come out until March. So we don't get anything from December to March unless they're also going to talk about shows or anything that they're probably going to be introducing as well. I don't know. What I did see recently in the news was they were showing clips of, or not clips, images of Emma Watson as a character, Clea or Glia. I can't remember 100% what the name was. I don't know much about Doctor Strange, so forgive me to the Doctor Strange fans if I'm butchering this, but she's supposed to be involved. And it's just getting to that point where the MCU is getting so big, it's like, how many actors aren't involved by now? Like, even if it's just for minor roles that are only last maybe that one film or only pop up as, minor characters in other films. Like, look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Sylvester Stallone is in that, you know what I'm saying? Eternals is meant to have Angelina Jolie. It's like, what big name actors have not been involved in the MCU yet? You can only go so far to get these big name stars in here and to still make it, like, to still give you that wow factor. Like, the fact that I'm seeing Angelina Jolie and I'm hearing about Emma Watson, it's like, wow, there's still a lot of people who haven't gotten involved. And that just leaves opening for so many other really good actors and actresses to get involved in these films and to give us really, really good portrayals of these characters. So, and again, I don't know if that's 100% true with the Emma Watson thing. I don't know much about this film, but we're not supposed to get it until March. And then after that, Thor, Love and Thunder. I'm a big Thor fan. I'm probably one of the few people that actually is a big fan of the first two Thors, and I actually like those two Thors over Thor Ragnarok. That's just me. I have my feelings about Thor. I feel like, I understand what they're saying when it comes to the idea that, they were building him up to actually understand, how to be a human instead of just an Asgardian thunder god. And because of that, he gets more humorous as time progresses. But I just feel like that really downplayed his character, and I'm a big fan of how the first film and how The Dark World, the second film, really portrayed him as a god. Like, because that's what he is. He's the god of thunder. And I feel like Thor Ragnarok really downplayed what his character is capable of, and they made it way, way too comic-y and way too much like a human, I guess. I know, if I remember correctly, that's part of the story in a way that he doesn't have all of his powers. But, I mean, come on. Like, how are you going to make him seem like such a powerful character through two films and also anything else that he's subsequently involved in, whether it be the two Avengers films that also happened before the fact, and then just totally make his character, like, have funny one-liners throughout that entire film? Like, it's just poor towards the character on my part. I'm not going to say it's poor storytelling. It's just, it doesn't do the character justice. And I feel like that's upsetting for me as a fan. And I don't know what Love and Thunder is going to involve. But I do like the fact that Thor is still involved. One of the only ones that's going to be involved from the beginning. And we don't have any more Captain America. Like the big three. There's no Captain America. There's no Iron Man. So Thor has to still have something, have some sort of involvement in this universe, and maybe he'll be the longest running, unless they start leading it over into the transition that they have where, I know it happens at some point in the comics, there becomes a female Thor and a female Loki, and maybe they're going to lead into that at some point and do that transition so somebody else can take up the mantle, and then Chris Hemsworth is no longer going to be Thor. I don't know what to expect from this. He's the only one that's getting more after, the big six. I really wish the Incredible Hulk that's portrayed by Mark Ruffalo would get something, but I don't know if they have the rights to do stuff like that. I think there's still some kind of gray area to that, especially after all the issues that they had with Edward Norton and the Incredible Hulk film they made in Phase 1. So I don't know, but I'm looking forward to a new Thor. And then after that, Black Panther sequel, going to happen that July. That I'm looking so forward to. I thought Black Panther was amazing. I've heard various plans of what they have to respect Chadwick Boseman and respect his character, and they've said a lot about how they're going to be doing whatever they can to not recast the character, but otherwise do something else for that character. I know there's a lot of things going on online that his sister, Suri, is going to take up Suri, I should say, I apologize, is going to take up the mantle as the Black Panther. I think that's a great idea. I think that makes the most sense. I don't know how they're going to incorporate that because they did do a lot of these rules and a lot of these traditions in the first film, and I don't know how that is for it or goes against it. I don't know how they're going to play it off. I also don't know how they're going to play off his death. I hope it's not, just kind of swept under the rug. I hope that something is done respectfully, but also that gives you some kind of closure for that character. Maybe they'll do something like how they did for that Fast and the Furious film right before Chris Walker, I think his name is, I can't remember now. But right before he passed away and the filming was almost done, they CGI'd some stuff at the end with him. Maybe they'll do something like that just for a scene or two at the beginning. I know if, I believe Universal Studios owns Fast and the Furious, I know if they're able to do it, we all know the technology that Disney and Marvel Studios has, so they're able to do something to kind of give him a proper send-off, and then lead this film into another kind of story for the next Black Panther. I don't know what this is, the Marvels. I'm guessing that's another Captain Marvel film. That's not coming out till November of next year. I think that's the first they've actually announced that. I didn't know that there was a thing called The Marvels coming out. But I know there's Miss Marvel. They've shown images of the actress in that official suit on set for the Miss Marvel show they're supposed to be doing. Don't know if that's what this is or not. Maybe it's Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. That's why it's called The Marvels. I don't know. But I am looking forward to another Captain Marvel, and I'm looking forward to Miss Marvel too. I don't know much about her, but I know she was very prominent in the most recent Avengers game that came out, and her getting her own show I think is perfect. Kind of bringing that character into the fold as well, and again making more new characters for this next generation for Phase 4. We need more characters involved. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. That's not coming out till February of 2023. So right now, with just this film, I'm learning that they're not planning on... How long did Phase 1 and Phase 2... 22 films over 10 years, 3 phases. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 years for a certain phase does make sense. I am looking forward to another Ant-Man. I think the first 2 Ant-Man are fantastic. I think Paul Rudd does great. I'm looking forward to a third one. It sucks that we're not getting this for almost 2 years. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. If you look at the pattern of where they've been going with the phases, it took 10 years to do 22 films. So yeah, I guess this makes sense. But damn, not till February of 2023, geez. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, not until 2023 as well, May of that year. We'll wait for that. I'm not a huge fan of the second one, I said it before. I love the first one, though. I think the first one is great. The second one has so many issues for me. I don't like how they gave Star-Lord powers, and then they were just like, oh yeah, we're just going to get rid of those altogether. And then you had a character, a villain, who could easily be the next big bad for all the Avengers to fight, and it was just so easy for them to get rid of him. Like, that's a missed opportunity in my opinion. They still have plenty of big bad guys they could use for what could lead up to another Avengers film. They have Dormammu, who's still kind of around. They could have, I think it's the next trailer that pops up with the next little clip of what we might be getting. They have Galactus. Galactus is a huge deal. Doctor Doom is a huge deal. And I believe that's this next clip coming up that I'm so excited for this. Marvel Studios has the rights to Fantastic Four, and I said this when they did the Phase 4 and 5 release back in December. The fact that they have Fantastic Four and they're planning something for it makes me so happy. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts at a Fantastic Four live-action film. And I know you probably only think 3, but there actually is a 4th one. There's the most recent one that came out in 2015. There's the 2 that came out in the early 2000s, the Fantastic Four with Jessica Biel and with Chris Evans, actually, who plays Human Torch, funny enough. And The Rise of the Silver Surfer. But there's another one that goes back to the early 90s, 1994 and 95, I believe. I'm actually writing something about that for a YouTube video idea I have. And it was never released until many, many years later. And the guy who produced that film in 94 is actually the same producer of the 2006 film, or 2005, I can't remember exactly. But he did that original film, and the studios kind of stopped him from releasing it. And then, of course, technology progressed. 8-10 years later, it started getting released, pirated on the internet, and people found it. You could look for this now and watch it. I haven't seen it yet, but the fact that there's been 4 films, and now we're probably going to get one that's incorporated into this giant universe, and it's probably going to be the best one so far, in my opinion, and give them a really, really good portrayal of these characters. I'm looking forward to this over everything else. I'm so happy that they have the Fantastic Four now. They even say Marvel's original family. I think this is going to be great, and I'm so looking forward to it. And I think that's it. Yeah, and then they show more clips of Shang-Chi and everything else. Yeah, this... Phase 4 does look really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to everything that they have planned, and I'm hoping that this leads into more and more good stuff. And, of course, there's things that aren't mentioned. This is just the Phase 4 release. They are things that are on the Phase 5 docket as well. So that's still a lot of content for just Phase 4. And, they don't mention any of the shows that they also have planned. So I'm really happy that we're finally getting more stuff, and they're really pumping people up and getting them excited for Phase 4. And I think they need to, because we waited a long time for anything, and the fact that it's been, I want to say, give or take 2 years, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but at least 2 years since we had anything, and that was Spider-Man Far From Home. So the fact that we're finally getting at least a glimpse of content, and it's way better than I think anything they've announced for phases 1, 2, or 3, because they have to hype up more. They have to hype us up more for this stuff, because we were so excited about the first 3 phases, which has been dubbed the Infinity Saga. So what are you going to do after the Infinity Saga? Well, here's what you do. You have all these new rights now. You have all these new characters. You have to build the world again. And I believe they're only talking about Phase 4 and 5, because I feel like Phase 6 is finally going to introduce us to the next big bad that would be leading into another Avengers film or another Avengers trilogy. Well, not even trilogy, it would be the next trilogy. And I think they could run that for a very, very long time. If they do this right and they do this justice, we could see some really, really good Avengers films with all these new characters, all these old characters, and some villains that are bigger and badder than Thanos was. Thanos is a great character to kind of introduce like that, but now that the Infinity Stones are kind of out of the question, they need something else to lead off of. And for me, Doctor Doom is a great example. Dormammu is a great example. Galactus is a great example. That's just 3 of the big villains that I feel that can be incorporated into this universe, and I don't know what to expect from Eternals, from the Guardians' 3rd installment, from Shang-Chi. I don't know what to expect from them. So maybe these will introduce even other big villains that could possibly be used, and blown up to the extent that could lead into Avengers films. I mean, what's upsetting is that there is no Avengers film on this list either. There's no Avengers film planned for Phase 4, and I don't believe I saw anything for Phase 5 either. So it's upsetting to think that there are no more Avengers films expected as of right now, unless they're keeping that under wraps, which we all know the Marvel Studios is really, really good with that. So maybe they are planning it and we just don't know about it yet. I hope that's the case. I really, really do. And I'm really looking forward to what's coming next, and that's going to be Loki in June and then Black Widow in July. I hope you guys are looking forward to that stuff too if you're fans of it like I am, and I hope that I hope that Loki lives up to what Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision gave us, because those are really, really good shows, and if Loki is just as good, then those really prove a concept that they aren't restricted to films, that they can do these things as shows as well, as direct releases, be successful, tell really good stories over long periods of time, and maybe we'll get more than we're even expecting. Films take longer. I mean, to me, maybe I'm wrong at that. I feel like maybe films and shows take the exact same time. I don't know. I don't work in production or anything like that, but I'm hoping, and I'm expecting good things out of this. And this is a really good trailer. It's a really good tease, and it's a really good introduction at what's to come for the Phase 4.